Skream, thanks for being here. Welcome to Quick Mix. How you doing?
Great, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. We're sitting in Croydon. You're from Croydon?
I am.
What was it like growing up here?
It was alright, it was good, it was fun. I had a lot of fun growing up.
Your parents aren't from Croydon though, is that right?
No, my dad's from Penge and my mum's from Bermondsey.
What bit of advice did your parents give you that stayed with you today?
Don't be a
What's the one best bit of advice that you give to people when they ask you how to run a label?
Just look after your artists, believe in them, believe in what you're putting out.
What 3 things sum up your new label that you got coming, IFEEL?
It's run by me. It's all my music coming out with remixes from the people I respect and admire.
What's the best thing about running your own label?
You've got complete control. And you generally, if you do it right, you have a lot of fun.
What was the decision behind working with Norman Nodge for the first EP on the label?
Why would I not work with Norman Nodge on the first release of the label? He was originally batter in Chester's Groove, and I really didn't think that he'd be up for remixing it, and he was game and delivered 2 remixes.
The first EP is called Chester's Groove. Who's Chester?
Chester is my deaf French bulldog.
How often do you get to check in with Benga?
I spoke to him literally 2 days ago. We try and speak once a fortnight.
What is the hardest part about running a label?
People moaning about release dates.
What's the biggest myth about running a label?
That you'll actually earn any money from it.
The visual identity is important to your label. You've worked with an artist called Insa. Why Insa?
Insa was a childhood graffiti hero when I was about 14. And I reached out and was like, I commented on, I think, something that he'd done. And I was like, do you think, I was a bit drunk and I was like, do you think there's any chance you'd be up for like doing a design for my label? And he said, yeah. And if you'd have told 14-year-old me that Insa was going to be designing my record label for my music, I was a blagger.
There was a time visuals lost out when downloads became so popular, but it's kind of clawing back, physical sales. Are you happy about that?
Well, I think the rise of vinyl sales, and I think also the sort of the big hype on NFTs at the moment. I definitely think, yeah, I think the visual aspect of stuff's gonna definitely come fully back strong.
Think it's gonna last?
I think so. I think obviously the rise of digital is the platform now. I think more people actually want to spend their money on something that they can own. So I think if something looks pretty, I've bought many record labels. I've bought many records that purely for the cover.
Let's set the record straight. Midnight request line, Catch Me If You Can. What's the story?
There's no story, absolutely no story. I hadn't even seen the film until someone put a clip up of the 2 together. And I've showed everyone online how I made it, how I made request line anyway. It's literally just a C minor arpeggiato, gone, then to B.
Is Dutch Flowers horribly overlooked, in your opinion?
I don't think so. I think Dutch Flowers, it's one of the most streamed. That, Rutten and Request Line, I think, are the most streamed from that album. Most streamed and most viewed on YouTube, so no, I wouldn't say it's criminally overlooked.
You're constantly morphing as an artist. When do you think you're ever going to sit still?
Never.
Does being a good producer help with being a DJ?
No, because I know good DJ producers are good DJs. What
was the concept of your Skream debut album artwork?
There was no plan behind it. We was at the Subdub West Indian Centre in Leeds, UK, and we was having some photos outside and it got a little bit ropey. We thought there might be an idea that the cameras and that were going to get robbed, so we went inside for the photos.
What was the music being played at that time?
I think it was Iration Steppers versus DMZ, and it was all of us playing.
You still got the t-shirt in the photo?
Nope, chewed it off.
What's the top 3 tracks you produced?
I think one of them will have to be my production on Miles Kane's First of My Kind. A track on my second album called How Real. And a track coming out on the label called Trees.
And what's the worst track you've ever released?
I don't know, there's hundreds. No, there's not hundreds. There's hundreds I've made that ain't that good. I don't know, I can't answer because I can't remember everything I've released.
Collaboration, is it a rich creative experience or is it a pain in the ass?
I love it. I love collaborating, especially when you're on the same level.
Wavelength?
Wavelength, that's the one. Like, for instance, me and Jansen's just done 4 studio sessions and done 8 tracks. So when it works, it really does fucking work.
If you could only listen to one more track, ever, what would it be?
Prince, Crazy You.
You prefer 20,000 or 200 people to play to?
Depends where and depends what time.
What one piece of software kit could you not do without and why?
FL Studio. I've been using it for 20 years and it's who I am.
Give me a quick music production tip.
Sample something, pitch it, slow it down and chop it up.
Have you ever decided to change your DAW?
I haven't, but I have over the years learned to be able to use Logic and Ableton also.
What DJ mixer do you use?
Whatever's there when I turn up.
Who is someone who you think is criminally overlooked?
Artwork.
What is your preferred DJ pose? Is it Jesus or the pointer?
The pointer, I think.
What is your pre-gig ritual?
Get steaming.
Crossfader or channel faders?
Channel faders.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your music production skills?
Over the last year and a half, I think I've got to a 7.
Why 7?
Oh, no, you're not a 10. The people you research on are the 10, isn't they?
What's the most overused sound right now?
Whatever's the latest trend in Ableton.
What makes the perfect booth for you?
Sub Club Glasgow.
What's the strangest thing on your rider?
There's not much on my rider. It's like 4 bottles of vodka and mixer.
What club sounds the best to play in?
For me, it's a split between the Sub Club or Fabric Room 1.
What do you think is the best way to learn to be a DJ?
To listen to an EZ tape.
Is vinyl DJing the most skillful form of DJing?
I don't personally think so. Obviously, you can't hit sync on a turntable. Not that I hit sync on CDJs, but I'd played vinyl for years. I still use as much brain work using a CDJ as I do a turntable.
When someone mentions your track to you, do you find yourself listening back to it?
I do, every single time.
Why is that?
I don't know. Especially if it's an old one. If it's an old one, you're like, oh, I forgot about that. I've made a lot of tunes in my time, so I generally go back and go, oh, this was actually quite good.
What's the weirdest thing the warm-up DJ has left for you in the booth?
Speed pills.
How do you start your day?
With a screaming baby.
Has anyone ever left you feeling starstruck?
No, Rogers.
What's the best present anyone ever gave you?
A trip down to Devon Analog Studio.
What topic other than music could you talk about for hours?
The sesh.
What's the worst job you've ever had?
I've never had a job. I've only had one job and I was working in Big Apple Records and I got sacked from there for being late.
What's the best black you've ever heard to get into a club?
Someone pretending to be me and they got in. Magnetic Man in Leeds in 2008.
What do you find you're addicted to?
Music.
Can you recommend us a film?
Shawshank Redemption.
What's the last TV show you binge watch?
The Jinx.
Who would you choose to play you in a film?
Me.
Would it be wrong to add links to tunes on gravestones?
Nope.
Hustle in the afterlife.
I'm down for it.
If you weren't making music, what would you be doing?
DJing.
What's a must-visit record store?
Phonica.
What's the weirdest thing you've seen or read about yourself on the internet?
The best thing I've ever read was it was a satirical piece, satire piece. It was by Wonderground, and it was that my rider had been leaked, and I requested extra pillows and duvets to make a fort in my room, and the key point was only I was allowed to make it, no one else was.
Can you complete the sentence? At heart, I'm really just a
raver.
What is the biggest myth about being a DJ producer?
That you're rich.
What mythical idea would most improve clubbing?
A small tablet that make everyone love pianos, smile, and dance.
Do you think it's going to come?
Possibly.
What do you think your kids think you do?
Act like a dickhead on stage.
What's a new technique you're trying to master today?
Be the best in the world.
What's the craziest thing you've ever seen in a club?
Watching stuff back, it would probably have to be the time I give the CDJs away. Or the time that me and Benga called a full-on stage invasion at Benicassim and basically got the stage shut down and got banned from the festival.
What's your favourite lyrics to any song ever?
I'll get the music, baby, you bring the wine, by Prince, just as long as we're together.
Where were you when Prince died?
At home, I think. I was absolutely devastated.
Did you see Prince live?
Yeah, I did in Camden, yeah. Me, Artwork, and I can't remember who else was there.
What venue did Prince play in Camden?
It was at the can't remember.
Who knows? What's the most exciting thing you've seen in music these past 10 years?
Just the rise in extremely talented young producers.
What's the longest party you've ever been at?
The longest I've been awake, so I'd say I was there was Glasgow 5 days.
How do you feel after that?
I felt sound until about the following Friday.
Who would you most like to do a back-to-back with?
I forgot to answer for. Myself.
What's the track you'd most wish you'd made?
Prince, Just As Long As We're Together.
Skream, we're coming up to the final question. How do you want to be remembered?
Just as a sound, really.
Thanks very much.